Costa Rica was where one of the most enigmatic pre-Columbian cultures evolved. I suppose any extinct group is enigmatic, but we don't even know what they call themselves. We call them the Diquis, the stonemasons who made the unique petrospheres that are scattered across the country. From about 200 years BC and perhaps right up to the European conquest, they manufactured, using their picking and polishing techniques with nothing but stone tools, over 1,000 stone spheres, ranging in size from a few centimeters to as much as 2.5 meters in diameter. Many people are captivated by the spheres, and one such spherophile, the author Alberto Cibaja, has studied them intensely. The National Museum maintains an archive of the spheres' locations, and they welcome information of newly discovered spheres or undocumented spheres. And Alberto had heard about a sphere that wasn't on the National Museum's list, and so we decided to go look for it. The Diquis used the Sierpe River for transportation. Indeed, they transported these spheres, in some cases for hundreds of kilometers, presumably in their canoes. Some were even transported over the sea. Imagine trying to control a canoe in the ocean with a perfectly round sphere weighing several tons on board.
We're here, this is the Rio Sierpe. We're going to take a boat up the river through the mangroves to try to find this, up to now, undocumented petrosphere.
Downriver you can see crocodiles, but up here it's mostly just alligators. But some gators get to be more than 3 meters long. We're headed to the schoolhouse of a small village called Hacienda. The only access is by water. Some of the kids come to school by boat.
Well, we're here in Hacienda, up at Sierpe, and we found 4 spheres. This is probably the largest one. It looks like it has very little damage. It certainly wasn't brought from downriver. It was probably dug out of one of these fields over here. We have a couple more we can show you in a sec. We also have this little one, which is still halfway underground, which is probably the oldest one. They're both of gabbro. They have this growth on them, and this one, as you can see, is really worn down. It looks like it's solid. We don't want to dig it out, of course.
The river Sierpe is protecting these spheres. If there was a road here, they would have been stolen long ago. We measured the 4 spheres and took pictures.
This marvelous set of spheres in bolas were probably together, and I'm not the kind of person that believes in this sort of thing, but this sphere actually radiates. In fact, you probably can't, this one particularly, you probably can't see it, but the hairs are standing up on my arms right now. It has a magnetism or some sort of electricity that comes right off it. Other people have reported this too, with different spheres, but I didn't believe it until this one. This really buzzes. It's like alive. This magical sphere, beautiful thing. People come and see it, and they come back and back again and see it again. It was originally discovered by Claudia Vidal, the owner of this farm. Her husband found a little bit exposed and then dug it out. So it's unknown if it was originally placed here in the river or if it is thrown down from the hill. But regardless, the finish of it is fantastic. It's one of the best spheres that I've ever seen. Absolutely lovely. This is Batambal. Down there is Palmar Norte. This was a very strategic spot with a 270-degree view right out to the Pacific Ocean, all the way down to you can see almost to Panama down that way. Here we have the Fila Grisera, and I'm standing on top of what was a mound, which would have had a palenque, and obviously an important person or activities went on here because we have 2 large spheres over there, which I'll show you in a minute. Over here we also can see the points directly towards the largest sphere found thus far, which is the Silencio, over just behind the bridge over there.
This collection of spheres was found while digging ditches for the surrounding banana plantations. No long hikes are needed here. It's great for those who want an adventure cocooned in their air-conditioned SUV. If you're in the neighborhood of Palmar Sur, ask a local for directions and you can drive up to the front gate. Just ask politely and you can come in.
This sphere is very interesting. Quite unusual because it has a petroglyph carved into it. Now when it was done is hard to tell. And what to be able to see what the design is, a lot of times what people will do is use chalk to mark the lines to be able to see it. But you really shouldn't use chalk because it does wear down the sphere. We'll show you right now how to do it. You can see perhaps the shadows here. These lines are scratch marks from when the chains and the machinery that took it out. But right here is the sphere, is the petroglyph. We have a circle up here. We'll show you how to do this professionally.
You can make a charcoal relief, or simply wetting the stone allows the glyph to shine through. Another reason to avoid chalk or anything that scrapes the grooves is that archaeologists can date the residue in the grooves and glean information as to the possible age of the glyph. This is halfway up the Fila Glycera, looking west into the Diquis alluvial plain.
Behind us here is an old cemetery, an Indian cemetery. We're at the top of the Fila Glycera on our way up, and over here we can see what's left of a mound. In fact, all of this area has been heavily dug up by grave robbers who've taken out over the last few decades lots of gold and ceramics generally that just broke them. We're going to go up to the top here. Unfortunately, we see where they ran a tractor through here over these old graves, destroying a lot of stuff in the process. We're going to go to the top of the hill and see what we find there.
Just off the bulldozed trail that tore the ancient cobblestone causeway, we spot a sphere.
Here we are in the Bishakra range at the top of the Fila Glycera. Right over there was the cemetery. We're probably close to 400 meters above sea level. It was a heck of a climb up here. And this is one of the remaining spheres. Whether it's in situ or not, we don't know. Reportedly, there were at least 3 more larger than this taken out of here back in the 50s or 60s, who no doubt are now decorating somebody's lawn in San Jose. It's a particularly cute sphere. She's very old. She's definitely very worn. And the stone that it's made of probably came from down, 20 kilometers away also. Similarly, we saw remnants of the road that led up here, all made of stone brought from the river Sierpe and Terava. And here we are just in the Bishakar range, and here is yet another petroglyph, and like pretty much all the ones that we've been able to see, they all seem to be facing to the sky. There don't seem to be any on the sides of the rocks.
The first map shows 12 archaeological sites on the Fila Glycera, while the second shows the alignment of the spheres. Unfortunately, most spheres have been moved, but it's virtually certain that their placement to each other and the surroundings was very important, probably representing astrological alignments. Most of the glyphs, on the other hand, remain where they were made. Some locals call them mapas de indios, Indian maps, and certainly some may have been exactly that. Clearly, studying the symbology, we can learn more about the linguistic structure of this now extinct people. Here, Don Jesus Centeno, the local landowner, uses the sap from a green cacao fruit to trace the grooves of a glyph. When the sap dries, it turns brown and reveals to us something about what the carver was trying to communicate many years ago.
Here we are in Piedra Pintada, which is right on the ridge, and this is one of the most significant petroglyphs around. It's painted all the way around, and reportedly, when it was originally found, it was surrounded by barrels, or what probably were thrones or seats, perhaps a dozen surrounding this. And the theory is that the shamans or the caciques came from all around. If you go all the way down there, you find the Baru volcano where the barriles are. You go across here to the Osa Peninsula, up here to Sierpe where we just came from, over here to the Talamanca, and one could suggest that this is where they had meetings to decide the important things of their people.
The Petro-Spheres are a national heritage for Costa Rica. This year, members of the UNESCO World Heritage Organization were hosted in Costa Rica and taken to the Diquis region by Costa Rican and international archaeologists. Soon we expect that UNESCO will designate World Heritage status to this uniquely wonderful inheritance left by the ancient people of the Diquis.